Hello, hello everybody. Welcome to this streaming appointment. We are very glad that on the day that in Italy celebrates Italian talents, Italian contemporary art, in the 19th Giornata del Contemporaneo, which is an event that every year the Association of Italian Contemporary Art Museums dedicates to the promotion of contemporary culture. And it happens always in this very beginning of October. For the occasion, Trieste Contemporanea is collaborating to this Giornata del Contemporaneo for many years, and for this occasion we want to present our new award for young people, which is the Young European Artist Trieste Contemporanea Award. It is an award which we assign for a long time. We can see that it is set up only few years later after our foundation. We were founded in 1995, and the award started in 1999. And I am glad to say that the organization of this award marks always with joy the activity of our group in Trieste. And for this presentation, we are extremely happy to have with us two of the last awardees, which I welcome in the streaming. I welcome Teresa Mayer, which was our 2019 award, and Luciana Tamas, which was in fact the last award 2021. Yeah, I haven't said that from 2013, if I well remember, the award is biennial, so every 2 years we make this call. Teresa and Luciana, thank you for coming to this event, and I will just shortly explain the few rules of this call, and then we will have the opportunity to speak about the young artists in Europe together with you and with your suggestion to your younger colleagues. So on the console, there is internet console, there is Marina, which you don't see, but she is the soul of every technological possibility of this group. So thank you, Marina, very much. And we have prepared just some few slides about the award, which we can start to watch together. And the deadline is end of November. You can go all your rhythm. The call is open to young artists under the age of 30. So be careful not to mistake the date, because you have to have been born after the 3rd of November, and also born in one of the following countries, which you see on the display. Of course, we are having this geographic interest because Trieste Contemporanea dedicates all its activities to the contemporary culture in Central Eastern Europe. There is no fee for participation, and we have prepared a form online for all applications that we will receive, and you must submit through our form at our website. The participation is very, very simple, very clear. We just want to have a portfolio of at least 5 recent works with the explanation of the works, a curriculum vitae, and a short artistic statement. Of course, we will see the form, and there are some documents like an ID card, but we will see together just after this slide. The award is not a prize, but have a very good budget to make an exhibition by the winner in Trieste. So when the jury, the international jury, will decide the 2023 winner, we will call this young artist, and we will agree and decide a project that he will prepare for a solo exhibition in Trieste. Yes, of course, for this exhibition, all the expenses of travel and accommodation in Trieste for the installation of the show and for attending the opening will be also paid by the organizers. Before this, maybe we can go to our website so we can show how to easily find the link to the form, to the application form. In the main page of our website, Trieste Contemporanea website, there is in the menu, there is a line which is written in red, YEATCA Award 2023, and then there is a little test, and you can easily fill the fields with all documents requested. This is the identity documents. Then you can drag the portfolio here. If you can apply like a group, and if you are a group, you can insert members' details in this field, and that's all. You can see also previous editions, and you can also read on our publication part of the website the catalog we intend. I don't want to be another. For instance, was the catalog we prepared for the solo exhibition of Teresa. And yes, we can scroll, Marina, very, very quickly, also the images, and then we go to the slides again. Maybe we can comment also the exhibition, but before, it could be interesting for people that that are connected to know who are Teresa and who are Luciana. So, Luciana, can you start presenting yourself, studies, and I don't know, speaking also with Teresa, very a chance makes in this moment that Teresa is a German artist, Luciana is a Romanian artist, but they are both in Germany now for studying, isn't it, Luciana?
Yes, indeed. It so happens that we're both in Germany. Actually, just 10 days ago, approximately, I sort of celebrated 11 years since I moved to Germany to study. So in these 11 years, I guess I've turned into a Romanian German artist. Since I also have dual citizenship in the meantime. So yeah, I come from Satu Mare in Romania, Transylvania, where I went to an art school when I was fairly little, between the age of 5 and 8, and then I went to a German school. And after I finished my high school, I was awarded a 5-year scholarship from the DAAD, the German exchange service. And I came here to Braunschweig to study art at first, which I graduated in 2017. And at the same time, I also studied English studies and art history at the Braunschweig University of Art and the Technische Universität Braunschweig. And yeah, I had several degrees, a master's in art history and aesthetics that I graduated from 2 years ago. And some years ago, I also started a PhD in literature, in theater studies, and one dissertation in art history and aesthetics, both of them in Braunschweig, but on very different topics.
And what about Teresa?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I grew up and I was born in Bavaria, and I started studying art in Dresden in Germany. And then first when I started studying, I was studying scenic and costume design because I was really interested in rooms and, or maybe not rooms, but space and urban spaces and so on. And then I figured out I would prefer to study fine arts, so because I felt too limited in the scenic and costume design department. And I went on studying fine arts, and then I also switched universities several times. So I was studying in Halle at the Burg Giebichenstein and in Munich at the Academy of Arts. And then I graduated at the University of Arts in Berlin in 2019. And yes, that was, I think I was really looking forward to be out of university. But then the pandemic situation came quite fast, and nothing was like I had imagined it. So there weren't any galleries and so on, and it was super hard to network. And so I was really thankful and also proud to get this chance with the Trieste Contemporanea Award, because that was then felt like a first big success. So having a solo show in Trieste was really cool. And shortly after this, I applied for a artistic research PhD that is settled in Weimar in Germany too. And so I'm also working on my PhD right now. And it's combined a theoretical and a artistic practical part. So now I'm in this really privileged situation right now that I can do my art and be paid for it somehow. Yeah.
So you are, both of you are students for PhD now. Why you are? Why you are studying so much?
I think I started with this PhD because I felt, as I said, during the pandemic situation, it was hard for me to find things that were possible to do. And I thought I could do an application and maybe feel also more included again in some structures and in an institutional context. And I think first I also didn't really know what this PhD would lead to and what I exactly want with this PhD and so on. But now I think it's a really great opportunity to diversify my network on the one hand, and on the other hand also, maybe put my own work in a more large context. And I think it's also a cool working opportunity. So later, and so especially during the PhD, you can apply for different fundings than you do when you're a freelance artist. So yeah.
Do you agree, Luciana? What was your idea when you applied for a PhD granting?
Well, I have to say that I've been asked so many times in my life why I study so much. This has really been a constant question. I think most of all for me, it's been my great passion for knowledge and for learning. In various fields as well, from literature to visual arts and philosophy, and all of these fields that have always fascinated me. And I've always had this image of myself as a kind of eternal student in a way. I think I want to keep doing this. I want to keep pursuing this path of knowledge and constant education. And of course, there are many other benefits of being of following this path. But I think for me, it's really the hunger for knowledge that's informed my decision to do, as I said, two PhD researches and
Yeah.
two fields.
So we can say that a sort of European perspective is, for an artist, for a young artist, is to continue studying in a sort of artistic situation which is combined with research. Do you think that among your friends and colleagues, this is a sort of common base to study and to be an artist in Europe? You can answer yes or no, but also speak together.
Yeah. I think, like speaking for me, doing a artistic research PhD among the friends I have or colleagues that are doing or being artists is not too common. So I'm still asked a lot, so what is this, like an artistic research PhD? What are you doing there? And why do you do this? Because you are an artist and you're an, you were trained as an artist at university. But I think, Germany, for example, is institutions are quite essential and important if you want to be an artist or if you want to go on doing things. I think it's hard to avoid institutions, and doing a PhD is like a super institutional phase and thing. And as I said, it's I think you're getting more into this sphere, and yeah, so I think maybe it's not so much for me right now, probably it's not so much about this studying thing that I'm doing this PhD, because then I can go on studying somehow, but it's for me more this part of being in an institution that are helpful. Yeah.
And
Right.
in Romania, is it something usual or not usual?
Well, I don't think that we can really find a rule to this. I don't know if it's really a usual thing, but this love of scholarship, of knowledge, and its constant pursuit. I think it's something that I know from a lot of my Eastern European friends. But also, I think what you said just now, I think this kind of informs the basis of the European spirit, if you want to put it that way, perhaps as an extension or continuation of the Renaissance spirit to some degree, as we were just discussing before the streaming started.
Yeah, and let's see what you are doing or what you presented to the Trieste audience. Luciana was. Can we see the other slide, Marina? Was preparing a sculpture exhibition. And can you comment, Luciana, your interest in these materials, which are very pure, which is wood, and in this subject, which is somehow, and that are works that you are that you initiated in 2020, I suppose, this kind of guns and can you explain your ideas for this exhibition?
This motif of weapons, it started a little earlier in the first years of my studies at the art university. And talking about materials that you just mentioned, I think in sculpture more than in any other art forms, perhaps, you can create a certain tension with the materials that you choose for your sculptures, and also, of course, the shapes that you choose to mold them into. And to make it perceptible, this tension, I think you must, as an artist, be able to initiate the viewer into a kind of language or code of signs that accompanies the structures that you create. To me, I think it's important to be able to tell a story, or to at least take small, humble stories or units of stories and kind of recontextualize them so as to reveal sides or nuances that maybe escape immediate perception. And I think even better, it is to invite the viewer to add his or her own code of signs to the one that you've created, and to allow a certain ambiguity, and to not dictate the meanings of the piece you've made, because that would impoverish both the artwork and the viewer's experience of it. The sculptures and installations that I chose to show in Trieste offer a possible reading of war and violence as kind of a fundamental part of the human condition, one that permeates the everyday and the domestic and the apparently banal. And in many of the sculptures and installations that I showed there, I included some pieces, some objects of domestic use, such as gardening tools, for example, or bits and pieces of vacuum cleaners or kitchen tools, but also many pieces of toys or of children's cradles, to kind of highlight this idea of aggression and the domestic permeating each other, and not being two sides that completely oppose each other, but actually two sides that or elements that kind of create a symbiosis. And I built fake drones and weapons that form the centerpiece of the show in a playful manner. In Nina Nana, my exhibition, drones, or the shape of drones or airplanes and guns, mingled with the shape of guitars, for example, or cradles and swings. Sickles, for example, turn into cradles, and vice versa. And lullabies are sung in a kind of denial of death. It's how I imagine it. And drones become toys that have no mechanical function, that can't actually be used for anything. So that's also part of the ambiguity that I try to create. And when the viewer came into the exhibition and saw the objects, at least this was my intention, they could not really locate the definite meaning or the definite symbol that they were facing, because so many shades and so many perspectives came out from the one and the same object. And I tried in these installations to question and analyze narratives of domesticity and aggression, but I try to do this in thoughtfully and playfully and irreverently in a way. And the title of the exhibition, Nina Nana, Lullaby, about that, I've been asked so many times, who sings this lullaby? Is it the guns or is it the sickles? And I really had to think of Samuel Beckett, who, whenever he was asked about the identity of Godot, he would always reply that he didn't know who Godot is, and that he didn't even bother to think about the possible identity of Godot. And I kind of have the same enthusiasm, actually lack of enthusiasm, when it comes to explaining the meaning of the title Nina Nana. But I think one possible answer to this question can be found in one of the artworks, which might be most surprising to you, namely the one that centers around Jonas Hellborg, the video that is projected on the portrait that I painted of Jonas Hellborg, the great Swedish musician. In that video, Hellborg plays a Swedish sea song, Besanlo, which I think is loaded with many metaphorical meanings. And since Trieste is also a port city, I think maybe this could be a possible key to why I chose Nina Nana as the title. But really, I don't know who sings the lullaby. I just know that song exists somewhere.
Okay, that's a good, really a good introduction to the exhibition. Let's make also Teresa a sort of introduction to her exhibition, and I remember that it was the very first exhibition we had the necessity to make online. Of course, the exhibition was existing in Trieste, but the audience was not allowed to enter because of pandemic. And so we built a virtual space with your splendid drawings for waiting the pandemic be overgone. But can you explain us this, which in my opinion is a great decision, this decision to show only drawings and only a special kind of drawings?
Yeah, I think when I applied for the award, my drawings were still more rational, and they were showing a lot of urban spaces and places, and they were showing them in a quite architectural way or manner. So the drawings somehow looked quite cold, but at the same time, there were a lot of twists in the perspective. In the perspective, because or in the perspective way of drawing. Because I used to draw those places that are really popular in the city, like, for example, parks, or like office buildings or playing grounds. But I tried to put in the perspective like a super subjective point of view. So the drawings they seem to be architectural, but in the same moment, they are not rightly constructed. So there's always something wrong. And you could see some of the more rational drawings, how I would call them, in the exhibition in the Studio Tomaseo. But in this first year of the pandemic, I also started to use more colors, and I tried to, or maybe I didn't try, but it ended up to be like this, that I didn't try to exclude some aspects of my personality or of my individual way of seeing things. And earlier I was really working in a more conceptual way, and then I let the drawings grow somehow on the paper, and and this is what you could see in the exhibition, I guess, that maybe you could see this changing moment, that there are these more colorful drawings that still look quite empty and are quite constructed, but there are more moments where you don't really know what's going on. And also, as Luciana referred to her title, with my title I was also asked quite a lot what is an onaga and what does this title mean. And I think the two drawings you could see right now, they are showing some zoo situation, but there are no animals in these areas. And so my title refers to a situation I had when I was a child, and we were as a family in the zoo with my sister, and we were playing this game like, if you were an animal, what animal would you be? And I think I told my sister that she probably would be some kind of donkey or horse or whatever, like, and she absolutely didn't like this association of mine. And an onaga is a special sort of donkey. And so this title, but I don't want to be an onaga, refers to my sister, but also to zoos and to public or half public places. And quite funny thing that I figured out after the exhibition, or maybe when it was already on view, is that an onaga is a weapon too, or could be a weapon too, like some historical, I don't know exactly what kind of weapon, but also a kind of historical weapon. It's also called onaga. Yeah.
Wow. So this is a sort of it is a question that the dialogue that we can make all the three together, and how after time has passed, have you lived and worked during the pandemic, and can you see with clearness if anything changed after in your way of even of understanding of your making art, of your working in the field of one of the most important field of communication, immediate or mediate. This is a long story, but communication between humans. If any.
I should start. Well, I think the pandemic has indeed changed a lot, and actually, this was a topic that that I discussed last year at the exhibition with Daniela Kapp, the curator of both our shows, actually. Whether the pandemic has changed my way of making art or of understanding art, and then my reaction was that the pandemic has changed me, I think, on a human existential level, I think. And probably this is the case with everybody. It's more difficult to really assess whether or not it changed my way of understanding or making art. But what you mentioned just now about communication, I think, is crucial in terms of what the pandemic has brought. I mean, in that time, of course, things didn't go smoothly, obviously, for me either. Many events were canceled, others were postponed, and there were so many things, so many challenges to deal with during the lockdowns and everything that came with them. So I had to look for solutions, and I think this is something that the whole art world had to deal with, searching for solution. And I'm not sure if cultural institutions managed to adapt very quickly or quickly enough to the new conditions back then, maybe even since then. I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, for example, instead of looking for solutions, for new ways of trying to communicate with the public or trying to continue the dialogue with the public, even if there was this physical distance that was enforced during the lockdowns. I don't know, through virtual exhibitions or open air performances or whatnot. Many institutions chose the easier way of just canceling events. And that for many artists and curators and everybody working in the art, in any kind of artistic fields, all of these people found themselves suddenly in a kind of social and financial vacuum. So this is why, among other things, applications for exhibitions or awards, such as the one that you offer every 2 years, have become even more important for artists. So in my case, I had to understand that in such a context, it is important for artists, and maybe young artists in particular, who haven't really built kind of framework for themselves yet. It's really important to be able, Well, in a way, to kind of do almost everything, right? Not just the traditional sitting or standing in one studio and creating the actual works and then presenting them, but also everything in between, like self-promotion and networking and getting into contact with people. And during the pandemic, it was all the more visible since most of us had to, stay at home and kind of be confined between the walls of our flats or studios. So I don't know. I guess one of the things that I did during that time was kind of get into all sorts of networks, online networks as well, which made me reflect on what this means and what collaboration entails with other people, other artists, but not just artists, because there were so many people from creative spheres, from creative fields working together to show their work on all sorts of platforms. And a new kind of solidarity was required, I think. And maybe that is one of the things that the pandemic changed in the art world, this idea of solidarity and networking. And maybe this is why institutions such as if you know it, the Wrong Biennale demonstrated some years ago, or also what probably the Documenta 15 last year tried to attempt with this idea of networking. So maybe one of the solutions to what I was just saying previously about the failure of institutions to kind of adapt to this situation is to invent new paths or new institutions for oneself, or kind of alternative platforms or alternative biennials, maybe even, or educational projects run through these platforms. Yeah, so there will be much to say. I don't know if you have enough time to.
And Teresa, your feeling of this new period which came after a disaster like that?
I think so with the pandemic situation, I started to think a lot about accessibility. So what rooms are open for people and what happens if rooms are not available, and if, like what Lujana just said too. And so I started to work a lot in the form of booklets, because booklets don't need a spatial frame. So they are also a quite, I think, democratic form of art, because they are usually quite cheap in comparison to, I don't know.
Just now, a booklet. Just now you publish, isn't it?
Yeah.
We ordered already.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's I published now 2 booklets with the Phantome Verlag in Berlin.
Oh, good.
You can find them on the website. And so I thought this is really cool to make those booklets, because they can go to the people, so people don't have to come somewhere or to some certain place. And it's also maybe, as I also heard it from friends, and it was in the media, it was a big topic. How did the pandemic change the communication among people, and what did it to the social situation in general? And with a booklet, you're also not forced to go to a place where other people are. So it could be also a more intimate feeling of seeing art and watching art, or having an art experience. So I sometimes, when I go to a museum and look to some paintings or so, I feel super observed when there are other people's having a look at the same painting at the same moment. And I thought a booklet is a way to open up a private space of having an art experience. So this was, I think, really connected for me to the pandemic situation, and this is what came out. And I think also what Luciana said, it's what probably the pandemic situation showed is it's super important to diversify the network and you have, and to try to connect with other fields and people working in other disciplines. Maybe to also get some cooperation started in I don't know, maybe you could show some pieces in an office building where the laws are working or whatever. So maybe you also don't need like art spaces.
I am speaking about pandemic because you are a bit I speak because people who will this year probably apply for the award are artists that during the pandemic they were studying, and that was probably a very difficult way to meet the art world during pandemic. So this is also this idea that Teresa was saying and both of you were saying, to choose alternative ways to be a group working in art. From one point of view is something that is in the trend now of international contemporary art, and from the other side is something that permit people, young people that were in pandemic, we guess they were closed in at home instead of being at the academy altogether. This permit to speak about issues of art altogether. And another condition which is increased a lot after pandemic, in my opinion, is the opportunities of grants and mobility of artists, young artists through Europe. Do you feel that this is, I mean, it has increased the possibilities for young students to apply for internship or to ask for move programs to study not in their country but abroad?
Well, I'm not really sure if there's been necessarily an increase in that regard, and maybe it also has to do with this whole context that has evolved during and after the pandemic, and also with the war in Ukraine and the economic crisis that ensued. All of which has brought about a kind of dissolution, I think, and also on many other levels. And I'm also thinking about the dissolution in terms of the ability of creative minds to generate meanings. But I'm not really sure, because in the current context in which if you choose to invest, let's say, 100 billion euros in weapons for a fear that you might be attacked by some kind of autocratic entity, there will be fewer funds for other areas, and that includes the arts. Let's face it. And I think, from what I could observe, at least here, maybe this is not a generalized, I hope it's not something generalized throughout the continent, but I think in this context of widespread insecurity and rising living costs as well, the new generation's willingness to study art and take a risk, because studying art and choosing this path involves certain risks in the end. I've noticed that many institutions, many great institutions have had to lower actually their investment in the scholarship and in awards. But I don't know, here at least, luckily the German state still finances a good deal of projects. And indeed, you are right in this. I'm not really sure if it's an increase, but throughout the years in which I've been living here, I've seen that there have been so many grants and projects and open calls overall coming both from the state, but also from smaller or bigger institutions and foundations. Entities that try to promote young artists or the arts in general. So I don't know, what do you think? There is theories on if there is an increase in this regard.
I think.
Sorry, you'll see both perspectives coming from Germany, so maybe it's really into this space.
No, what I was thinking about, maybe it's not really connected with scholars and fundings, but what I really like now after the pandemics is that there is much more opportunity to join online in lectures or in events and so on, and I think this is really cool. And well, I'm really happy that now we can meet again and join events in a physical way, but I think it's more inclusive also to have the opportunity to join online. And so this is what I really like about the post-pandemic situation. That is maybe also where you can argue about this, but maybe it's also more sustainable to maybe now, for example, we can join this event via stream, and I think we have this consciousness about streaming events. Maybe it increased because of the pandemic. And this is something that could be a really cool option. As I said, it's inclusive, and I think should be aware of this and also really use this. As you said, Jenna, before, during the pandemic, you were really focusing on increasing your network also online. And I think this is super worthwhile. So, and this was something I was thinking about now.
So, as a sort of testimonial of this award, madrina si dice, we call in Italian little mother, madrina, like Padrino in the mafia movie of American mafia movies, but as a testimonial of artists that participated in the award, and as representative of young European artists like you are, a bit older than the applicant competitors of 2023 in Trieste. Have you some proposal, something to underline, something to think to that is important to say to young artists entering this kind of entering the world of art, but looking back to your entering in the last years, did you felt difficulties, or I mean, what was your enthusiasm in starting a new work? I mean, a young person that have to start a job, but this is an artistic one?
I think what I would propose is to not be afraid and really follow your instinct somehow. So I always have this kind of credo that I think about tasks I have to do or decisions I have to take, and I always try to just follow this path where I think, yeah, this is fun for me. I really want to do this. And if there are sometimes things and I feel like, as an artist, you should do this or you should do that, I try not to follow those ideas, but just to, really take my decisions concerning what feels fun for me. And I think this is important because, especially as a young artist, surely you are afraid in some moments, and you feel a pressure that to become, I don't know, successful in some way. So I don't know what this should mean, but you have certain ideas what you should do, and you get advices. You should do this and you should do that, and this is important. And then you read some bios from artists. You think, what a great artist, and you think, I should do this too. Then maybe I also become a great artist. And I think this is, I wouldn't recommend this. I think you should just really do what you love to do, and not doing or trying to do things that you think you should do when you are an artist. Like, and this helped me, and still helps me quite a lot, that I try to imagine, do I like my daily life now? And when I don't like it, what are the points that I don't like? And then I try to avoid those. And then all in all, this is me as an artist. If my daily life is kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely echo some of what you just said, and going back just a little bit to the new context, and also to the younger artists who have probably also studied during the pandemic, and the difficulties that they had to face. I think right now we are faced as artists with multiple challenges. I mean, in a world where quite literally anybody can snap a photo and then post it on social media and then present themselves as influencers, there is a greater competition, and not necessarily among artists, because I think, in my experience at least, among artists, there seems to be quite a lot of unity. But among or between creators of let's call it visual meaning, people who chose the arts because this is their vocation, this is the path that gives meaning to their lives, and those who see art or visual culture in general as merely a means to gain visibility. And also, right now we have this kind of ensuing competition coming from artificial intelligence. Who knows what that will bring? And things that we cannot really foresee at the moment. But I believe the world needs professionals with artistic sensibilities, artists who chose this path despite the hardships, and in an attempt to advance and enrich the best that art has given the world so far. And probably many things will change and will keep changing in the next years, perhaps even decades. And to be a little on the gloomy side here, unfortunately, young artists are not favored in times of crisis. So we need to understand this, because the market, for example, prefers established figures, artists who have already been recognized and legitimized by great institutions and cultural centers, and have shown in great biennials and the major museums and whatnot. I think in this context, and not just in this one, there isn't one singular solution that applies to everybody. So what works for me or for Teresa doesn't necessarily have to work for others. And I don't think there is a solution that can guarantee lasting success, what you were just saying, right? And I think one of the things that we need to have in mind at all times is that success should not be the goal, but rather a consequence. To me, success is the consequence, a positive consequence, of course, of a job well done, of the novelty one proposes with one's art, of the passion invested in the realization of each project. So let's start off by being aware that permanence, first of all, is an illusion. Because I've talked with several artists throughout the years who kind of view success, I guess, as some kind of very friendly fellow or very friendly creature that one can keep forever on at one side. But it's actually a strange and unfaithful little creature. So whatever you do, understand, so to all young artists watching this, that art is a lifelong pursuit. And it requires massive amounts of enthusiasm and passion and curiosity. And I don't want to end this conversation without pointing out very, very strongly that whoever will win this award for the next edition will enter into a kind of extended family of all of those who have been chosen by Trieste Contemporanea to exhibit their work there. And as I wrote in the introduction to an interview that I did with Signora Carbi a while ago, Trieste Contemporanea is a kind of neo-Renaissance spirit, and you will sense it immediately once you get there. And Trieste, the city itself, is truly a spectacular city, and you will find it to be a space of incredible brilliance and versatility, which will offer you unforgettable moments. So just apply. And go on.
Highly recommended.
That is something, I mean, it is the right way, the best way to finish this presentation. And of course, you have to meet each other by face to face. You are not so distant, and have to continue speaking about your project together and about art, about the meaning of what you are doing, and maybe also to share the ideas that you have for the respective PhDs. That could be a good starting of a very good friendship.
Yes.
We will stay just a little together to say goodbye, but we leave the streaming, and we remember that young artists have time till the end of November to try this new experience. And it is my colleague saying something.
May I ask you a question? There is a question from the public.
Okay. Can I ask a question? There is a question, but which is the question? You can ask a question. You can write in the chat, your text, and we can reply.
Read the question.
Ma io vedo la chat.
What is the artistic statement that is required in the application format?
The artistic statement is a sort of a very short explanation of your feeling about what are you doing like an artist, about your that was something which were speaking with Teresa and Luciana before, to say the motivation for which you are making those projects which are in the portfolio. Is that a statement, Teresa? Yes.
Yeah, I would say you write what your work is about. So you write, yeah, as you said, what you're
Also
doing,
your-
what you're referring to, maybe.
Your feeling, your most theoretical also
Yeah. I
principle.
think you try to put your artistic work in words in the best way. Yeah.
It's your goals and motivations. And I think if you search online, probably there are also books that explain this. You will probably find a lot of guidelines of what this means and how to do it.
There are also several examples you can find, but it is just a simple reason why I am an artist and I am doing that kind of works. Other questions?
Another one.
And where should we send the exact idea of what we plan to exhibit or in the artist? No. That happens after you win eventually. Then we contact you and we ask to plan an exhibition. It's not a project that you have to propose like in other contests. This is only a call for letting this international jury know what you are doing in the last 5 years. So if you are a video maker, you put also the link to the video platforms, and you explain to the jury what is your work, at least 5 last works or projects, and to that the statement has to be related. Okay, so we always have a lot of applicants, and the jury is costretta, compelled to work very hard, and we have to see a lot of things and works during the meeting of the jury. But we will let you know, Luciana and Teresa, what will be the result of this year, and of course we will keep in touch. So everybody, thank you for having been with us, and we stay just a moment in the Regia di Marina. Okay, ciao.